This is a short instructional video to show how to assemble a D400 or Stealth Gen wind generator. The parts are unpacked and are as they would come out of the boxes. The first item is the
wind generator body.
Second item,
5 air blades.
Next item,
tail assembly with fixing bolts, nuts and washers. White powder coated hub plate. 7 5mm bolts, washers and nylock nuts. Rotor hub spacer. Button head screws and shakeproof washers for rotor hub spacer. Aluminium ring. Outer stainless steel hub plate. Nose cone and tower liner.
This next section covers the assembly of the D400. The 5 blades are slotted together. Note the correct way round. Is to assemble the white powder coated hub plate. It doesn't matter which way round it is. Pass 2 of the 5mm bolts with washers through the inner holes, the 2 inner holes, and fit the rotor hub spacer over the 2 5mm bolts. Then with the body of the wind generator on its back, you slide this assembly onto the shaft. There are 2 holes in the wind generator shaft, and you line up with the 2 6mm tapped bolts and washer. Line up the 2 bolts into the holes and into the threaded part of the shaft. When placing the hub assembly with the plate and the 2 bolts onto the shaft, try to ensure that the 2 holes in the plastic spacer line up with the 2 threaded holes in the shaft. It'll make it much easier when you're trying to get the bolts in. The next stage is to fit the 2 6mm button head screws with lock washer through the plastic into the shaft. You need a 4mm Allen key to do this, and put thread lock onto the thread before you start winding in. Be careful not to over tighten these 2 screws. Next stage of assembly is to place the aluminium ring into the wind vanes. Ensure that the rounded side is pushed in first into the plastic, leaving the flat side as per in the picture now. Take the assembled rotor assembly and place onto the shaft, making sure that the aluminium ring is facing towards the rear of the wind generator. Slide the assembly onto the shaft. The next stage is to take the remaining 5 M5 bolts, place a washer over each bolt and slide the bolt with the washer from the back, going through the rotor assembly as shown, and do that with all 5 bolts. Next stage is to fit the outer stainless steel hub plate over the 5 outer bolts and 2 inner bolts as shown, and then when all bolts are through, put the nuts and washers over the 2 inside bolts and tighten lightly. With all 7 nuts now tightened, the unit should be turned over so that the blades face to the ground. Take great care as the blades are sharp and a bit delicate. The unit is quite heavy. We're now ready to assemble the tail fin. To install the tail fin, the fin should be fitted to the left hand side of the flange as viewed from the rear. The 3 bolts are fitted with the small washer first. The bolt goes through, the large washer is then fitted, and then the nylock. That completes the installation of the basic machine. There is only the nose cone and the mounting collar to fit. The tower liner, black plastic, is slid over the cables and onto the yaw shaft. You need a 2.5mm Allen key to do up the 2 retaining bolts. Tighten these, and that is this end of the machine completed. The only remaining part now is to connect up the 2 cables, the red and the black, positive and negative, to a substantial cable to run through to the regulator, and we have to put the nose cone on. To fit the nose cone, we're going to mount our unit on our standard pole in the shop. The unit is secured to the pole by drilling 2 holes into the tower liner through the tube to a depth of 12mm using a 4mm drill. You need number 8 by 12mm self-tapping screws. This will lock the tower liner into place. The nose cone is fitted by opening the axial splits very slightly, putting over the edge of the blade and then rotating anti-clockwise very carefully until the unit clips in place. That completes the installation. The following tools are recommended for the installation: an 8mm box spanner, an 8mm and 10mm ring spanner, 2.5mm and 4mm Allen key, and a crosshead screwdriver. That's really all you need. A typical installation should take about 30 minutes, no more.
Recording.
13 knots. 8 knots. 10 knots. 10 knots. 10 knots. 13 knots. 15 knots. 14 knots. 8 knots. 10 knots. 12 knots. 13 knots. 14 knots. 14 knots.